Victory 93.7 WTKB Atwood Milan.
Good morning. I hope you're having a great start. Welcome to Resilient Radio, Recovery Radio Hour, and I'm your host, Daphne Wallace. I'm also in recovery from mental illness, drug addiction, and trauma. If you're listening and you or someone you know are looking to be a part of something new to help those out there who are lost in addiction, Resilient Radio is looking for people just like you in this community and beyond to help build this program. We are breaking the stigma of mental illness and addiction by connecting with passionate people who care about this mission. We are currently seeking ambassadors, advisors, sponsors, and any volunteers to join our very important project and to be a part of our team. You do not have to be in one precise location to be a part. If you are interested, please email client services at tentalk.org. That's TENN talk.org. So many people are either too afraid or too ashamed to ask for help. I believe this program is going to change the lives of many families and bring our communities closer together. This week's topic is the power of choice. I want to start by thanking our sponsors. We got Amy Carroll Training. To change behavior, you must first change your thinking. Ignite your passion to excel. Amy Carroll Training offers a complete wellness program, health coaching, water aerobics, Pilates, yoga, meditation, meal prep, boot camp challenge, and life coaching. Amy Carroll Training at 422 West Masonic, Dyersburg, Tennessee, 38024. Call 731-445-3762 for more information on how you can transform yourself. So this week's topic is the power of choice. I want to share a few quotes with you. In any given moment, we have two options: to step forward into growth or step back into safety. Abraham Maslow. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is the power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Viktor Frankl. Understand that the right to choose your own path is a sacred privilege. Use it. Dwell in possibility. Oprah Winfrey. Every choice you make has an end result. Zig Ziglar. Things do not happen. Things are made to happen. John F. Kennedy. We choose what attitudes we have right now, and it's a continuing choice. John C. Maxwell. Our lives are fashioned by our choices. First we make our choices, then our choices make us. Anne Frank. And whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm. Solomon. These are just a few examples of people who understood the power of choice. Sometimes it's hard to recognize our choices. Many people like myself go through life repeating a cycle of living that may or may not have been taught to us as a child. For me, I had to envision what I hoped my future would look like. I had a dream bigger than I felt depressed. It took a lot of hard work and lots of mistakes, and still does. But today I get to choose who I become. I choose to become the best me. Yesterday was a gift, today is the present, and tomorrow is a mystery. Choose wisely. During our show, if you have any questions for any guest or myself, you can call 731-562-9370 anytime during the show. Also, be sure to go to Facebook and join our group Resilient Radio and listen to our podcast. This is Resilient Radio on the Victory 93.7, Milan, Tennessee. Music, community, and love. This is Cheryl Crow with Redemption Day.
redemption day. It's buried in the countryside, exploding in the shells of night. It's everywhere a baby cries. Freedom, 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 freedom.
Up ahead, I'm honored to have with us in the station today recovery poet and author Roxana Tucker from Boonville, Mississippi, and spiritual life coach and a messenger of hope, John Coleman from South Haven, Mississippi, both sharing their stories of resilience. That's all coming up on Resilient Radio. Now, this is Imagine Dragons, Whatever It Takes.
Falling too fast to prepare for this. Tripping in the world could be dangerous. Everybody circling as vultures. Negative, nepotist. Everybody waiting for the fall of man. Everybody praying for the end of times. Everybody hoping they could be the one. I was born to run, I was born for this. Whip, whip, run me like a racehorse. Pull me like a ripcord. Break me down and build me up. I wanna be the slip, slip. Word upon your lip, lip. Better that you rip, rip. Break me down and build me up. Whatever it takes. Instead of fear of being typical, looking at my body feeling miserable, always hanging on to the visual. I wanna be invisible, looking at my years like a martyrdom. Everybody needs to be a part of them. Never be enough from the prodigal son. I was born to run, I was born for this. Whip, whip, run me like a racehorse, pull me like a ripcord. Break me down and build me up. I wanna be the slip, slip. Word upon your lip, lip. Better that you rip, rip. Break me down and build me up. Whatever it takes. Hypocritical, egotistical, don't wanna be the parenthetical, hypothetical, working onto something that I'm proud of, out of the box, an epoxy to the world and the vision we've lost. I'm an apostrophe, I'm just a symbol to remind you that there's more to see. I'm just a product of the system of catastrophe, and yet a masterpiece, and yet I'm half diseased. And when I am deceased, at least I go down to the grave and die happily, and leave the body of my soul to be a part of it. I'll do what it takes, whatever it takes. Takes.
If you are just tuning in, this is Resilient Radio, Recovery Radio Hour. We now have with us recovery poet and author Roxana Tucker.
Okay, this first poem I'm going to read, the title is Drugs Claim It All. I wish that I could take back the years that I gave to drugs. It swallowed all my memories and consumed all my hugs. It took my name and corruption came, it destroyed my life and time. Always buy and sell, you see, I wasted every dime. Right and wrong came into play, then I went to jail. I then called my loved ones up, asking for my bail. You'd think I learned my lesson there, but drugs controlled my life. I was a lousy friend back then, and I was a despicable wife. It came before my family and caused many fights. I lost my love and dignity and proclaimed that I was right. Day and night I searched for drugs, pills and weed and speed. Blocking out my loved ones, the drugs created greed. Shame, remorse, and regret swirled within my mind. I thought that I had control, but merely I was blind. One day the law and CPS took my kids away. There was nothing I could do at all, and nothing I could say. I cried and screamed and beat the walls. I'd never felt so lost. I had never considered the repercussions that day, and that my children would pay the cost. We paid the price. I changed my life. We live it day by day. Love, truth, and commitment has finally found the day. I'll never take for granted my time to watch them play, as I pray to God in heaven that I never lose my way.
That is. I'm so glad you're here, Roxana, and I'm really, really moved by your story. Lots of things that you shared with me already has been really inspiring and encouraging. Can you share with us a little bit about what it was like for you growing up in Boonville?
Well, I started drinking when I was 10 and started smoking pot when I was 11. Most of my family members were addicts. So that's what I grew up in, and that's all I knew, and that was the normal life for me. By the time I was 16, my father died, and I could pop 90 Xanaxes in 2 or 3 days. I was really getting hard on it. But I actually didn't know that I was an addict until I was 20, and I got pregnant with my first son, and I tried to quit using drugs, and I couldn't. And that's when I realized I was an addict. And, but, you know, I thought that was normal and okay in life. So I just went on about it, and that's the way I lived. And I ended up getting a felony when I was 21, and I was just miserable in life. Well, when I was 29 years old, I had gotten so bad on drugs, I was doing crystal meth, and I lost my children. And the only thing that had ever mattered to me in life was my kids, and besides drugs. So I chose at that moment to get sober. And me and my husband, we hit our knees and we started praying. And we started asking God to please help us, that we didn't know anything else to do. And I completely turned everything over to Him. Every drug I was on, everything that was bringing me down, every doubt. And I got down and I prayed and I said, God, take this away from me. Give me the opportunity to live for you and to prove to you that I will do what's right. And, you know, this was the first time in my life that I had never had withdrawals. But I came off of crystal meth and all kinds of pills and all kinds of other drugs, and I had no withdrawals. I did not go to rehab. All I did was go to church and pray. And God took away every withdrawal. It was a miracle the way it happened, because, you know, anytime I had been without drugs or whatever, I would be in so much pain that I couldn't stand up. I would lay in the bathtub and cry, and my husband would have to pick me up. But this time was different because God came into my life. And I know without a doubt that there is a God and there is a devil. And I have seen both lives, and I choose to live for God. I got my children back. I got my GED. I'm going to college now. I had a poem published twice, once in the International Poetry Digest and once in the Nightingale Journal. And I write poetry for God. I write poetry about addiction to try to reach out to other people. And I just really want to help people and let them know that, you know, when you're on your deathbed and there's nothing left, there is a God. And He will help you.
What a beautiful story. It's so powerful and raw, and I love the fact that you're stepping out as real as you are about it. a lot of people, a lot of mothers that have gone through similar situations don't try. It seems like they lose hope
They
in
do.
fighting for their children.
They do. And it's sad because they can have another life and they can't even see it and grasp it, but it's there.
What do you think, from your experience, is the most likely reason, second to being an addiction, that mothers tend to lose hope?
I think it's because they're hurting so bad inside. We addicts have pain that other people couldn't imagine. And inside we hurt so bad because of our past and the things we've went through that we feel like we will never have another chance. And they're afraid to turn it over to God because they're afraid that he won't be there for them because they've never given him that opportunity. But if they just turn it over to God, then they can become the person that they were meant to become. I know this without a doubt.
So, growing up in Boonville, you and I both, we share similar past. It was me
Yes.
later in life before I realized I was in addiction. What are some of the positive memories you may have held on to when you were a child? That kind of helped you when you found recovery? For me, it took some time before those positive memories resurfaced, but when they have, it really gives me a calming.
It did me too. My family was all that ever mattered to me. I love my family so much. And my grandma Edge, she was a Christian. And I remember going to her house, and I remember at night, my daddy and me and my little sister Marilyn, we would pray, and we would say the Serenity Prayer. And then we would go into God Bless Mama, God Bless Daddy. And we would say, everybody in our family, we would just draw it out. But that memory gave me hope and made me realize that my grandma had been praying for me my whole life. And I didn't even know it. And she prayed for me to have a better life. And I'm thankful for those memories. I'm thankful for the memories with my sister Marilyn and my mama and my brothers and sisters. And that is what helped bring me along, was because I knew that I had to do it not just for myself, but for them. I had to show them that there is another way.
Right. It's hard not to get emotional.
It is. It really is.
When did you first realize that you had a passion for writing, and how does it help further your recovery?
Okay, so I never knew I could really write. When I was 16, I wrote one poem that a drug teacher liked, but nothing ever became after that. And I didn't realize I could write until I got sober. After I got sober, I just started writing like crazy. And I was just writing about what all the drugs had done to me and how horrible they made me feel inside, and how they were destroying my life. And when I realized when I put it on paper that I felt better inside because I got to speak how I was feeling. So that's when I realized I could write. I was 30 years old before I realized I could write.
Isn't it weird how that happens?
It is. You don't know your talents or your gifts that God has given you if you're an addict until you get sober for a length of time, and then you can start finding out your true purpose in life.
Yeah. So what are your hopes for Boonville, say, in the next 5 years regarding recovery and the mental health community?
I'm going to college, and I hope that one day they find a way to beat addiction, to find a way to get out of it that is successful and that will help the community, because the community is bad on drugs. There's a lot of people on drugs that are dying every day, and you don't hear about them a lot of times, but I see it. And now that I'm sober, I can see all the pain and misery that these people are in, the same pain and misery I was in. And I know that if we come together as a community and group, that we can outreach to them. Actually, at my church, the Vineyard, we're starting a Celebrate Recovery class, and I'm going to be training to teach that, to try to reach out to people and to try to show them that there is another way and another life.
So can you share with us what your dream is? What are your plans for college? I know that you're wanting to do continue doing what you've been doing as far as helping with things and being a advocate in the recovery area.
Definitely. I want to put together a book, and I need somebody to help me one day, but I want to put together a book of my poetry and stuff on addiction and the poetry I write about Jesus. And I want to be able to give that out to people for hope, so that they have something to hold on to and something to read and something to look forward to. Also, I want to go into journalism. I want to write, there is miracles in this world happening every day by God, and you don't hear about them because a lot of people don't want to talk about God and what he's doing because a lot of people don't even believe in him. So the journalists that don't believe in him are not going to go out there and speak about God. And I want to be the one that finds the stories that God has put on this earth for us. There is proof of God's being here, and I want to show people that there is proof, and I want to write about it.
That is awesome. And totally could see a movie being made. That would be amazing, wouldn't it?
It would.
So where can people go to find your stuff? On Facebook?
Yes, I post all my poems on Facebook. Some of the old ones I haven't posted yet, but I'm getting it together. Eventually, I will find a way for it to get out to the public. I have a website, Roxy's Take on Recovery and Poetry, on Facebook, that you can check out and hear more about the things that I write about and stuff if you're interested.
It's really good. I encourage you all to go on Facebook and check out her page. She also has a group on Roxy's Take on Recovery, and it's just amazing, the stuff there. Also, for anybody that may want to help Roxana complete her mission of publishing a book on addiction, just reach out to her. I'm sure you can reach out to her on one of those pages or the groups. And would you mind sharing another poem with us or two?
Yes, I will. Okay, this one is called Just One More Day. The rain trickled down the windshield that night. All I seen after was a big bright light. Moments right before I drove the car off the shore. A sunrise, a sunset I'll never see again. All because I had a few too many to drink. I could feel myself start to drown as I began to sink. Anxiety and panic started to set within. My little girl was young. She was only 10. If I could do it over, I would take it back. The glass was so loud as it began to crack. The last thing that I saw was my daughter standing there by me. My daughter dressed in white I will never see. The man she plans to marry I will never meet. I should have been at home rather in that seat. I wanted to teach her right and wrong in life. I wanted to hold her hand as she became a wife. I'll never see her change as she begins to age. I'll never see her smile and walk across the stage. God, forgive me now because I am gone today. I didn't do what was best and I chose my own way. But now I'm gone and my innocent child has to stay. If I had one more day, I'd have never had that drink. I would have stayed to watch you play. This one is called The Ugly Truth. It is what some of us addicts go through. And it's pretty harsh, but it's the truth. It's called The Ugly Truth. Plastered to the toilet many, many days, this is life in a drug addict's way. Bipolar mood disorder comes in many forms. Vomiting, sleep disorder, you wished you wasn't born. Paranoia, schizophrenia is knocking at your door. Sometimes you'll wake in random places or maybe on the floor. Ice, crank, coke, and crack only slows you down. You'll stare out the window for hours, and for days you'll search the ground. One pill turns into 20, and then you've went too far. You'll meet up with a total stranger and drive off in his car. Drugs give the illusion that you look so nice and hot, when in truth you look like Frankenstein as your body decays and rots. Time only lurks when you are in withdrawal. Mommy and Daddy, no one else will catch you when you fall. Time begins to pass like the dust spinning in the wind, while all the tears and pain never seems to halt an end. Pass right by the living, and one day you'll find your death, plummeting 30 stories with a broad named Crystal Meth.
I just love how it's so. I really, really do. And I think people need to hear it. People that go through it can understand what exactly you're saying. Families of those people can understand from being a family member with someone. I'm hoping that people that have never experienced it can have a little insight on what it's like and how detrimental addiction can be on a person. Thank you for sharing your story of resilience with us. As if that didn't get your heart moving, power up now with this song, Andra Day, Rise Up.
You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise like the day. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, I like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. The silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet. Move mountains, bring it to its feet. Move mountains. And I'll rise like the day. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. And for that we have each other. And we will rise, we will rise, we will rise. Oh, we'll rise. I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up. In spite of the ache, I will rise 1,000 times again. And we'll rise up, I like the waves. We'll rise up, in spite of the ache. We'll rise up, and we'll do it 1,000 times again.
So we are back now. We just spoke with Roxana Tucker, recovery poet and author. She shared an amazing story of perseverance. If you're out grabbing lunch, chew on this. The Resilient Radio program is seeking ambassadors, advisors, sponsors, and volunteers to help expand this community. We are looking for advocates and passionate people to be a part of our team. For more information and to submit your resume, go to email clientservices@tentalk.org. That's TENN talk.org. This is a nonprofit organization on a mission to break the stigma. Find us on Facebook, Resilient Radio. Join the group and listen to our podcast in case you missed a show. Now I want to introduce you to John Coleman from South Haven, Mississippi, a spiritual life coach and a messenger of hope. John, it's so good to meet you this morning.
It was good to meet you. I'm glad to be here. I'm grateful to God that I am here, have this opportunity.
Yes, sir. Can you start out just kind of telling us who you are?
Well, I was born in around the Oxford area, October 24th, 1952. Sharecropper's son, worked hard, played hard, loved sports, hunted, fished, and my dream, I was very gifted in sports, and I was voted outstanding high school athlete in 1970. And I went to a crap game in the spring. I was supposed to go to Northwest and play football in Senatobia, Mississippi. And my dream was to be a coach. And I got sidetracked, started drinking a little whiskey, and one thing led to another. And my dream to be a football coach went out the window. But my dream is being fulfilled by having the opportunity to be a spiritual life coach.
That is awesome. So what was the thing that turned your life around?
Well, at the age of 33, I got married when I was 22, and at the age of 33, I decided that I'm an old prodigal son. I grew up in the church. My mom, dad carried us to church every Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, vacation Bible school, the whole 9 yards. And I drifted away. I moved to Memphis, Tennessee when I was 20 years old, and at the age of 33, I paid a high price for a low-class lifestyle, and I was hurting for certain. And I started going back to the church house and requested prayers, and I started seeking God. And my prayer was for God to give me wisdom, insight, and understanding, teach me and show me His ways, write His words on my heart and in my mind. I started studying the Bible, and the only thing I would read was Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, because my target then, and still is today, was to try to become as much like Jesus as I possibly could. So I go to the church house, and I did real good for a couple of years. At that time, when I started going back to church, we had 2 daughters and 1 son, and then my youngest daughter was born while my wife and I had started going back to church, and that was a big deal. I was 34 years old when Kayla was born, and I tried real hard, and I went on a fishing trip, wrong fellowship, and we started drinking again, and it was on 9 years of painful. And I would go to the church house, and I would request prayers, kept studying my Bible, reading my Bible. I'd make it for a little while and fall back off until December 1st, 1996, and that's my sobriety date.
So since 1996, how many years is that now?
I'm working on 23.
23 years. That's congratulations.
Thank you. My
Thanks
wife will have 22 this month, and my son will have 19 this month.
That is amazing, because a lot of families, addiction is a family thing. Some situations it's not, but in a lot of people's lives, the family's traditions came down to addiction. So it's just beautiful to see families that actually follow behind recovery, even if it's later in life.
It really is.
It's just the part of this journey. We don't always nobody chose to be an addict. Nobody dreamed to grow up and be an addict. We made bad decisions that led us to where, we are, and then we have to deal with those consequences, whether we realized we had a choice or we didn't. And we don't always think that there are people watching us and following behind us. Now, with that being said, that doesn't mean that that's always the sole cause of family members falling into addiction either. But I just want to commend you for leading your family the way you have, in the best way that you can.
Well, what I believe in simplicity and what I've learned a whole lot since I've been in recovery, and since I made the decision to try to serve the Lord. And what I started doing, the key for me turning my life around, is I started going to the jail in Hernando, Mississippi, with a couple of guys that was carrying the message of hope, the message of truth, the message of love to those guys down there. And I just got involved, and in the spring of '97, I started going to treatment centers, and in the fall of '99, I started going to prisons. And I went to Holly Springs Prison and did the A&D class from the fall of '99 to 2004. And what I didn't know then that I know now is I was being trained to do what I do today. I call it the value of experience. And what I do today, everywhere I go, I try to present the method of the coaches. And what I try to get people to do is review your film on a daily basis, because every day is game day. And it's a game of life and death. And if people would get in a habit of getting up in the morning, what I do is I get up in the morning, I ask God to direct my thinking. I get real specific with God about my motives. I ask God that my thinking be divorced from self-pity, which had me for a long time, dishonest, self-seeking motives. Motives play such a big part in our life, and it can help us differentiate the truth from the false, or help us develop a discerning spirit, or help us realize what our real priorities are and what our real ambitions are. And so, in simplicity, what I try to do to put it in a practical application, I get people like in this situation, I would ask y'all, I say, y'all go back and see how you got your day started, and who you got your day started with, and what kind of activities you've been involved in today, and what kind of fellowship you've been involved with today. Has it been healthy activities or unhealthy activities? Have you been involved in unhealthy fellowship or healthy fellowship?
And a lot of people need to have it broken down like that for them, I believe, you know.
I believe that time is a gift, not a threat. And what I believe is, if we will evaluate our time on a daily basis and see what we spend our money on, you can find out where your heart is. And so I encourage people, what I really love to do, my favorite time to do it is on Sunday night, so people can go back to Friday afternoon when they got off work.
Right.
And one of my favorite times to do it is when football season starts. So they can see
awesome.
what all they've been caught up in, as far as the lifestyle they live in.
Yeah, strategically planned. And it's just amazing to me how God has designed this whole thing and broken it down through you in the way that you have. I was looking at the chart that you had given me on power of choice, and there's just so much in here that the way you explain it and describe it, I'm sure so many people, the big majority of humans, haven't even understood this concept. And I really feel that it's the power of choice thing, the whole teaching definitely needs to be spread around.
Well, what God revealed to me is the realities of life of every man, woman, and child, regardless of race, creed, or color. It ain't about none of that stuff.
Right.
What we feed our mind or focus on, we become. What we become, we transmit. And what we transmit, we receive. If people, I did this a lot, and I didn't know how not to. I would feed grudges. I would feed them. I would fan them. I'd nurture them. I'd feed resentments. I call them demons today, or companions of the nature of darkness. I would feed that resentment, fan it, and nurture it. I start feeling sorry for myself. Loneliness would settle down. It would thicken, ever becoming blacker, and I didn't know how to escape until I started doing some self-searching some self-examination on a daily basis, and just praying, God, teach me and show me. One of the things I do throughout the course of the day is I have a spot check inventory. I try to stop, pause, and pray when I get agitated or doubtful, and ask God for the right thought or the right action, because I believe if I'm agitated or doubtful, I'm not thinking right, and I'm fixing to do something stupid because I'm trying to run something that I don't have the power to run, because it's not my show, it's God's show. I'm just a player on the stage. And
That's good.
And then at the end of the day, my highlight is to review my activities, what I spent my time doing, what kind of activities I was involved in, what I spent my money on, what kind of thoughts did I have, what kind of words come out of my mouth that shouldn't have come out of my mouth, or what kind of words should have come out of my mouth. Did I blow this opportunity? If I did, I look at it as a spiritual workout or a learning experience. And that's how we grow into the likeness and image of our Creator, which should be our goal. So I aim
That's
high.
awesome.
It's better to aim high and miss than to aim low and hit.
Love it. I love it, love it, love it. We talked for about an hour and a half the other day when I first had gotten connected with him. Just awesome stuff. So where can people go to support your missions? And you have Living Branches?
Yeah, we have Living Branches of Christ is the name of our ministry. And we have a YouTube channel called Living Branches.
Okay.
That's a YouTube channel. And we have a website. All this is in baby stages, because we're trying to get it as effective as we can get.
Absolutely.
We have a website, living-branches.com. And what I do is I go around different places. I was at the Discovery Place in Dixon, Tennessee yesterday, and we filmed that workshop. I was at a little church house outside of Bruce, Mississippi Sunday morning, and we filmed 2 sessions on that. That's my favorite one so far, and it should be up on the website and on YouTube in a day or two.
Cool. So Living Branches of Christ Ministries, you could go to YouTube and go to living-branches.com to the website and check out the updates. Also, for the 2-step workshops, how far out do you do that? How far out do you reach?
Well, what I do is I usually go to Murray, Kentucky, but I once a year I go to different places. Here's where I really go. I go wherever God leads me. Colossians chapter 4, Paul prayed that God would open up doors for him to have an opportunity to talk about the Lord. And every human being represents a door to another door to another door. So nobody knows where God's going to lead them unless they just wrapped up in their own little world, their own little plans, their own little family. And I just say this, our plans for life cannot compare with God's plans.
Right.
So it's bigger than anything we can do. Every time I get tore up from the floor up, I get a checkup from the neck up, and God lets me know it's bigger than anything you can see, son. Why are you so tore up? You're not running this deal, I am. Just do what you've been trained to do and watch me show out.
That's just awesome stuff. Awesome, John. So if anybody wants to maybe talk to John about the workshops, getting the 2-step workshops to come to your area or anything like that, or for more information, they can go to living-branches.com.
That's right.
Message John and just connect with him there. So if you're out there and you have any questions or comments, at the last few minutes we have to add anything that you want to say, call 731-562-9370. We want all the support we can get. You're listening to Resilient Radio, Recovery Radio Hour, Music, Community, and Love. Here is our weekly spotlight. It's Blind Melon with the song Change.
don't feel the sun coming out today. No, it's staying in. It's gonna find another way. As I sit here in this misery, you know, I don't think I'll ever know love. See the sun from here in the bottom of this sphere. No, is I better way. They'll all look at me and say, you can better. They'll look at me and they'll say, look at him and where he is these days. But that's okay. I guess he had to change. When you feel life ain't worth the living, oh, you know you gotta step back. You take a look around you, then you look way up to the sky, and it wash you down with a little bit of. And when your deepest thoughts are broken, you know you keep on dreaming, boy. When you stop, you know you're gonna die. And right now I don't wanna die. And as we all play box up tomorrow, oh, Lord knows some ways will work and other ways will play. Yeah. But I know we can't all stay here forever. So I'm gonna write my words on your face today until they pay me up. No, is I better way. They'll all look at me and say, you can better. They'll look at me and they'll say, look at him and where he is these days. But that's okay. I guess he had to change. When you feel life ain't worth the living, oh, you know you gotta step back. You take a look around you, then you look way up to the sky, and it wash you down with a little bit of. And when your deepest thoughts are broken, you know you keep on dreaming, boy. When you stop, you know you're gonna die. And right now I don't wanna die. And as we all play box up tomorrow, oh, Lord knows some ways will work and other ways will play. Yeah. But I know we can't all stay here forever. So I'm gonna write my words on your face today until they pay me up. change. Life is hard, you know you're gonna change.
So that was Changed by Blind Melon. Blind Melon is an American rock band formed in Los Angeles, California by two musicians from Mississippi and one from Indiana. They are best known for their 1993 hit No Rain and enjoyed critical and commercial success in the early 1990s with their neo-psychedelic take on alternative rock. After releasing 2 albums on Capitol Records and touring extensively, the band came to an abrupt halt in 1995 by the fatal overdose of lead vocalist Shannon Hoon on the band's tour bus in New Orleans, going on hiatus until officially disbanding for 4 years later. In 2006, the remaining members reunited and recruited new vocalist Travis Warren, producing a third album, For My Friends. Warren departed 2 years later, but rejoined in 2010, when the band returned to performing occasional gigs. And as of 2017, they continued working on their stuff, and now they're working on a new album. Change was written as a song of hope needed after the realization of how drug addiction impacted the band. So today we had with us Roxana Tucker and John Coleman sharing their powerful stories. Is there anything you want to add real quick, Roxana?
Yes, I want to thank Jesus Christ for saving my life, because I should not be alive today. A doctor once told me I had 28 overdoses in my life. And I want to do a special thanks to my husband, Michael Tucker, and my mother, Dina Wallace, for never giving up on me and keeping me going. And a special thanks to my church, The Vineyard, with Tracy Arnold and Niecy Arnold, and to everybody that's been behind me, rooting for me to get to where I am today. And I just want everybody to know that there is another way, and that Jesus Christ can change your life in an instant.
Beautiful. Thank you. Is there anything you want to add, John?
I'd just like to give credit to God for any success any human may be having. And I thank God for keeping my family together during all that stuff. My wife and I just celebrated 44 years of January the 25th, and thank God for the house of pain being transformed into a house of love. And the 4 children we have, there's so much love in our family, and what God's done through our lives, not just transformed our life, but it's transformed a whole lot of people's life. And our deal is,
Yes.
well, I personally believe that we're supposed to let Him demonstrate through us what He can do with His power and His love and His way of life. And I am so grateful for all the near-death experiences He brought me through, and I'm grateful that I'm in the free world, inside, and not locked up in the penitentiary somewhere for
Right.
'cause some of the stuff that I did, I could have been there. But I'm just so grateful, and I don't have the words in my vocabulary to express the feelings in my heart when I sometimes ponder how far I've came and how much I've discovered. And I just, nobody knows where the journey's going to take them, but what I try to do today, and what I'm going to encourage everybody else to do, is don't try to figure it out. Just try to follow what's already been laid out. And I'm gonna challenge everybody that's on the air to start doing this double-barrel shotgun, the power of prayer and the word of Scripture. And this is Psalms 139, 23, and 24, and I pretty much believe it says it all. But it says, "Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thought. Point out anything in me that offends you, and lead me along the path of everlasting life." And if you got a resentment in your heart, the devil has got you shackled to whoever you resent, and it offends God. And nobody wants to be shackled. So let's look at things from a spiritual point of view instead of a human point of view, and quit evaluating others from a human point of view and start evaluating people as spiritual beings. And let's love one another the way God intended for us to love.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful that y'all are here. I'm so grateful that I'm able to do what I'm doing today. I'm so grateful for everyone listening. If you missed a show today, no worries. Go to Facebook and join our group Resilient Radio for podcasts of the show. Also, remember, if you want to be a part of Resilient Radio and want to know how, email client services at tentalk.org. That's TENN talk.org. Tune in next Tuesday, 11 a.m. to 12 on the Victory 93.7, Milan, Tennessee. Thank you for listening to Resilient Radio, music, community, and love. Here is God's Not Dead by the Newsboys.
Let love explode and bring the dead to life. A love so bold to see a revolution somehow. Let love explode and bring the dead to life. A love so bold to bring a revolution somehow. Now I'm lost in your freedom, and this world I'll overcome. My God's not dead, he's surely alive. He's living on the inside, roaring like a lion. God's not dead, he's surely alive. He's living on the inside, roaring like a lion. He's roaring like a lion. Let hope arise and make the darkness hide. My faith is dead, I need a resurrection somehow. Now I'm lost in your freedom, and this world I'll overcome. My God's not dead, he's surely alive. He's living on the inside, roaring like a lion. God's not dead, he's surely alive. He's living on the inside, roaring like a lion. He's roaring like a lion. He's roaring. Let heaven roar and fire fall. Come shake the ground with the sound of revival.